Some may ask, were Himmler's breeding programs effective? The breeding programs were not effective due to the fact that an Aryan super race was not created.
Lebensborn was introduced into Nazi Germany on December in the year of 1935. Lebensborn was part of the Nazi belief in a master race, the creation of a superior race that would dominate Europe as a part of Hitler's thousand-year Reich. The initial success experienced by the Germans in World War II gave the regime an opportunity to expand Lebensborn throughout Nazi-occupied Europe. The idea of creating a master race was supported by Heinrich Himmler, head of the SS and one of Hitler's closest confidants. Lebensborn was Himmler's idea. Lebensborn, meaning the fountain of life, was meant to provide Nazi Germany with elite generations for decades and centuries to come. Between 1935 and 1939, Lebensborn was restricted only to Nazi Germany. If a woman wanted to participate, she had to prove her Aryan background as far as her grandfather's, and only 40% of those who applied to join Lebensborn passed this racial purity test. Lebensborn enabled women to get pregnant, though they were not married. And the Lebensborn clinics also acted as adoption centers, and they ran homes for children born as results of Lebensborn. In total, 10 Lebensborn homes were created in Nazi Germany, with the first built outside of Munich. However, it was World War II that gave Himmler the real opportunity to expand Lebensborn. The SS invariably followed the German military into a war zone. The SS had a variety of roles to fulfill after an area had been overrun. Its participation in the final solution has been well documented. However, another role given to it by Himmler was searched out for young children who fitted his idea of Aryan supremacy. Norway was occupied in 1940. This country especially interested Himmler because of its Viking past. Himmler had a great interest in the warriors the Vikings produced and their success as fighters. Norwegian women are encouraged or forced into having children with SS officers regardless of whether or not they were married. And 9 Lebensborn homes were established in the country. Children born as a result of such communications were brought up in Germany by approved Nazi parents. They were baptized in an SS ceremony where their adoptive parents swore that the child would have a lifelong allegiance to Nazi belief. Other Lebensborn clinics were established in Western Europe, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark, and all had one home built. The SS occupied Eastern Europe in search of Himmler's ideal young children. Blonde hair and blue eyes. Here, children were literally taken from their parents and sent to Germany, where they were brought up by approved Nazi parents who also had to fit the Nazi ideal. It is thought that as many as 250,000 children were taken from Eastern Europe, but the actual figure is not known, as much documentation was either lost or destroyed as the war in Europe reached its end. Effectively given a new identity, their past lives were all but destroyed, and it is possible that some may have not even known that they had been forcibly taken from their birth parents. It is thought that as many as 12,000 children were born as a result of the SS campaign to produce as many Aryan children as possible.
The Nazi official Alfred Rosenberg believed that the Nordic race was descended from Proto-Aryans who he believed had prehistorically stayed on the North German plain. The Nazis declared that the Nordics, or Aryan as they sometimes called them, were superior to all other races. The Nazis believed they were entitled to expand territorially. This concept is known as Nordicism. The actual policy that was implemented by the Nazis resulted in the Aryan Certificate, the one form of the official document that was required by law for all citizens of the Reich, was the Lesser Aryan Certificate, which could be obtained through an annual pass, which required the owner to trace his or her lineage through baptism, birth certificates, or certified proof thereof that all grandparents were of Aryan descent. Finding this many children with the preferred features was hard to come by. The program was not well planned, and the method of receiving these children was not effective. It was difficult, and it took more time than it should have, which slowed the process. The overall strategy of breeding children was not good. It also would have taken a long time to breed the perfect Aryan, since there was no such thing. Different traits from each person would have taken a long time too. When this program was started, the Germans were not winning the war. In order to create a super race, there has to be some established power in the war. That power was non-existent. The difficulty of starting to create a race with no power is outrageous. They needed to make children and at the same time begin to win the war and put those children in power. 200,000 children were stolen from Russia and Poland. This may sound like a lot, but it is not, since the whole point of this was to make a race that will own the world. Since they were not winning the war, they did not have the time it would have taken to breed these children. Only adults could breed. It would have taken decades to do this, and they did not have that type of time. Planning would have had to be exact in order to maximize the amount of kids being born.